Now imagine this. The year is 1944. Representatives from 44 powerful allied nations have gathered in a hotel in New Hampshire, USA. In that room, they are about to make historic decisions that will shape the global economy for decades to come. For 250 years, the world's most dominant financial power had been the United Kingdom. But now it was exhausted. Its national debt had climbed to 249% of GDP. After 2 world wars, the empire was coming to an end, and everyone in that room knew it. Because of this, something rare happened. The world's reserve currency, the dominant global money, was about to shift from one empire to another. The British pound was losing value, while the US dollar was rapidly gaining strength. But this wasn't just a financial transition. It was the next link in a cycle that had repeated for 5 centuries. Rise, peak, expansion, and collapse. Every reserve currency in history has lived through this cycle. And today, the US dollar is showing the same warning signs that appeared before the downfall of the 4 reserve currencies that came before it. To understand this, we need to look back at the previous monetary cycles. Now, 1450. The first global currency, the Portuguese real. For nearly 80 years, Portugal controlled global trade. This wasn't because of luck. Portugal redrew the world's transportation and trade routes by discovering sea passages to Africa, Asia, and the Americas. When Constantinople fell to the Ottomans in 1453 and the old spice routes collapsed, Portugal found a new solution: sailing around Africa. Lisbon became the commercial center of the world. The real was accepted from Europe to Asia. But success always brings overexpansion. The forts and military outposts spread across 4 continents placed enormous strain on the Portuguese treasury and slowly drained it. Eventually, political crises and the rise of rival powers ended Portugal's dominance, and Spain took its place. Spanish silver. Pieces of 8. In 1545, the world's largest silver deposit was discovered in Potosí, Bolivia. For centuries, nearly half of the world's silver came from this mountain. Spain's famous piece of 8 coins became the first global silver currency, used from Europe all the way to Asia. But Spain followed the same path as Portugal: excessive borrowing, 4 sovereign defaults, and relentless inflation. As silver production declined and the economy collapsed, Spain's era came to an end. The Netherlands. The birth of modern finance. In the 1600s, Amsterdam became the financial capital of the world. The Dutch guilder was at the heart of a system built on efficiency and trust. The Dutch created the world's first stock exchange, the first shares, and the earliest insurance models. But after major wars with England, their roughly 80-year financial leadership came to a close. England, the longest reign of a reserve currency. From the 1720s to 1944, the British pound ruled global trade for 224 years. The Industrial Revolution, naval supremacy, and the gold standard made the pound the world's most trusted currency. But World War I and II shattered the British economy. Debt exploded to 270% of GDP. Winning the war wasn't enough to keep financial dominance. Back to 1944. The rise of the US dollar and the Bretton Woods Order. After 22 days of negotiations, the World Bank was founded and a new system was created. All currencies would be pegged to the US dollar, and the dollar would be pegged to gold. The century of American monetary dominance had begun. In 1971, when Nixon abandoned the gold standard and replaced it with the oil standard, the dollar didn't collapse. It found a new anchor: the petrodollar system. The US struck a deal with Saudi Arabia, and from then on, global oil was priced exclusively in dollars. This forced every nation to use the dollar. For decades, this kept the dollar on top. Today, the dollar's share is shrinking. In 2000, 70% of global reserves were in dollars. By 2024, this fell to 58%. Foreign demand for U.S. Treasury bonds has been cut in half. BRICS countries are developing new payment systems and rapidly expanding non-dollar trade. Petrodollar agreements are weakening. U.S. debt has surpassed $38 trillion. And just like Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands, and the UK, the U.S. has entered the phase of overexpansion and excessive debt. Historically, reserve currencies last about 95 years before being replaced. The dollar is currently in its 81st year as the global reserve. So what happens next? Transitions never happen overnight. The British pound collapsed over several decades. Maybe the US will experience something similar. Or perhaps the world will move to a multipolar system instead of one single dominant currency. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it does rhyme. And the signs we are seeing today suggest we are nearing the final chapters of the dollar era. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe for more. Money, power, and history all move in cycles, and we are living inside one right now.